on Ten Hag, I don't think he can be. He's not going to be United's answer going forward. Whether they think that that's the next 2 years or the next 5 years, or even by the end of the international break, we'll find out. But I don't think we're looking at someone who's going to take them to the next level by any means necessary, really.
No, I actually thought they would have probably sacked him sooner.
Yeah, I think they might keep him for maybe even the rest of the season. Actually, I think that we've seen that there's not that much availability for managers outside of the Premier League. There's not really the top manager kind of like pool, if you will, isn't that large right now. I don't have a list of names that they can go, well, he's available and he's available and he's available. What are the pros and cons? I think it's more of they'd be getting rid of him just to end this now and kind of stop the form, get a new manager bounce, whoever that may be, might be an interim one. But I think the problems with Ten Hag just come from the fact that there's no positives of Ten Hag that I can see anymore. I think people were saying you got to give him time. You got to give him time with his players, especially. Wait till he's had a window. It came and went, wasn't successful. We've seen a wave of players fall out with him, with that Ronaldo, Sancho. There seems to be a lot of disruption there, and even now we're seeing it with Van Nistelrooy, things like that. Little tiffs going on the side. That always happens, but because it's Man United and because it's Ten Hag, it becomes a massive story. And becomes more than what it should. And I think that's a United problem, not necessarily a Ten Hag issue. But I think the lack of, I don't want to say passion, because I think that's very harsh, but I think the lack of ability to kind of control some of the outside circumstances is causing a lot of problems at United. And I don't think that will be solved by a new manager, whoever that may be. Who do you reckon it could be?
I think if you're looking at, I think if you're Jim Radcliffe, you look at Pochettino and go, that would have been probably the ideal. That would have been the one we wanted. But I mean, he'll be in the American job until the World Cup. I mean, I don't imagine Pochettino will stay at the American job after the World Cup there. So I mean, if you really want, you could stick it out with Ten Hag for that long. But I mean, the other main options, I'd say Gareth Southgate, and then kind of the one that's kind of been rumoured in kind of the news and the press, because he's got the Sir Alex seal of approval, is Allegri. For Man United fans, they'd see Southgate as the worst option. Just kind of his style of football is quite boring, and Allegri, I think it's a risk. Kind of, he's never played outside of Italy. Sorry, he's never managed outside of Italy. And kind of, yes, he's won a lot of cups, won a lot of leagues, but with clubs like Juventus and Serie A, it's kind of, if you're at a top club, it's not that competitive. And so, yeah, what are your thoughts?
I genuinely don't know, and that's because I genuinely don't really understand the United transfer policy, what they're trying to build with Ten Hag. I don't think Southgate's the answer for United. I think that would only lead to a worse situation than they're in now. I think Allegri's an interesting one because, as you say, he's got the Sir Alex seal of approval, which worked so well last time. But as you say, no experience outside of Italy. And there seems to be a bit of a tax with other managers coming in to the Premier League as well. And I'm not sure it'd be the perfect setup. But that being said, I think United are in a very difficult position right now. I don't think there is the perfect manager waiting for them to get in. Like Liverpool kind of were able to go, Jurgen Klopp's free.
Yeah.
We'll definitely get him. And that led to obviously a period of mass success. And I think kind of Man City kind of had the same thing where Pep Guardiola's free.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll build on that. I don't think there's that situation right now for United. And I think that's kind of, you'll be very disappointed if you're a United fan, because the option of getting rid of Ten Hag seems like the obvious one right now, I'd say. But at the same time, if you get rid of him, I think they're only going to go into more of a period of limbo right now. I think at the end of the season, maybe in January, where more things will change around, like Europe, obviously. I think that would be definitely the better time to change it then, opposed to now, where going into the Christmas period, which is just hectic anyway. I don't think adding a new manager to that will gain United anything, so to speak. But I mean, it's their worst start to the league ever. I mean, if that's not a reason to get rid of a manager, I don't really know what is.
I mean, you could argue another reason to get rid of the manager is the two worst starts to the season was your current manager's first season and then this season. But I agree. I think Man United are in a tricky situation because this team is built up of Ten Hag's players. Kind of, this is everyone he wanted. This is supposed to be like, right, we're ticking now, and they're absolutely not. They're playing horrendously. And then Allegri as well. Allegri feels a bit like just bringing another sort of Ten Hag, like kind of has it. It's his way, and it's all this, and it's all that, and it's kind of. I feel like with an Allegri, you might find yourself in this same position 2 or 3 years down the line.
Yeah, I think a lot of Man United fans, I'd say, are hesitant to get rid of Ten Hag because there's kind of that evidence of, well, it worked for Arsenal when they stuck with their manager and it didn't look great. But I think it didn't. There was constant improvement. A lot of people alluded to it of like the style of play. Arsenal were getting beaten, but there was signs of there is something.
You could
here.
see what they were trying to do.
Yeah, and Arteta cleared out a wave of players from old and brought in obviously his own players, and then it obviously the evidence is it worked. They've climbed up the table. Although there was obviously challenging periods at the start, they're obviously in a very fruitful place now. I just don't see that happening with Ten Hag. I think a couple of his signings have had a season or two now to get used to it. It doesn't look like they're going to get used to it anytime soon. That would be a bit of a blow to United now if they were to get rid of him, because they're obviously getting rid of the manager who's brought in essentially the new squad and pretty much all of the players in it.